until about 5 minutes ago, I could look up into the skies here and actually see the bright blue skies. But not any longer. They've closed the roof inside Globe Life Field. We are set up for halftime today. Our baseball. Feels like everything's good in the world for me right now. Phil Elson with you. Matt Jones, good morning. See you at Christian Johnston. Good morning. I got a ballpark to myself, practically to myself right now. I don't see anybody on the field right now. The groundskeepers area does have some open space. So it looks like they might be getting the field ready for Oklahoma State and Michigan. It's a 3 o'clock first pitch, but I love having an empty ballpark all to myself. And here I am at the home of the defending World Series champions with a chance to hang out with you guys for a few hours.
It's pretty cool. It's kind of like your own little sanctuary right there.
That's right. I could even put forth some baseball prayers to the baseball gods today. Usually we'd worry about weather this time of the year. We'd be praying to the baseball gods for good weather.
Is it domed? Is that a roof retractable?
Yeah, and I forgot that it is a retractable roof. It was open when I got here. And look, there's not a cloud in the sky in Arlington today. It's like 70 degrees. This is a perfect day to be playing baseball outdoors. So I got in here about 10 o'clock. Walking to get this whole big wide booth for myself. It's way up here, so this is higher up than we'll be calling the game for any point this year, even in Omaha if we do get there. And when I walk in, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Maybe we'll have the roof open and it'll be an outdoor ball game today. And as I'm sitting here setting the equipment up, and remember, there's nobody else here. I mean, there's probably people working in the offices and whatnot, but not inside the stadium bowl. So it's all to myself. And it's quiet. Like it was, I shouted through the ballpark just to hear my own echo in this stadium. And then all of a sudden I start to hear some squeaks. I'm like, would they already have a mouse problem or a rat problem around in this ballpark here? But no, you know what the squeaks were? It was the millimeter by millimeter movement of the roof that they closed right in front of me here. So now it's a little bit darker than it was about 15, 20 minutes ago. But you can still see outside. I mean, it's basically just like one giant window. So just don't have the sunshine on the field. It's too bad. I could have used the sunshine today.
A great place to play baseball. There was these old wooden bleachers in an old gym in the 90s, and you could retract them back and forth if you remember that at the basketball gym.
Mm-hmm.
Come back, and so we would press the button and then we would run through on the other end before they retract. But you think about being 12 years old doing this, if you would have tripped, but you're like, I'm an athlete, I'm not going to trip, and so that's pretty cool.
And you thought it was really cool that the stands would move just to push the button.
That's right. It's like, I bet I can make it through the other side before they squish me like a bug. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea.
I got a button that I can push here that will open up the booth into the elements here. And I could have stood there just kind of pushing the button and opening it and closing it and opening it and closing it, because to me it just is that cool. I remember working at a ballpark in Wichita, the old home of the National Baseball Congress World Series and Wichita Wranglers, Lawrence Dumont Stadium. They had built that ballpark with press box windows that were there was a hydraulic system to open the windows. So they were really heavy windows, but all you were supposed to be able to do was just sort of flip your finger up, and the hydraulics would take it from there. But I think the hydraulics worked for maybe a year or two, and by the time I got to that ballpark, you had to you basically had to be able to squat 500 pounds to open those windows. So, and I used to go there for, I think I went there for 6 different seasons. So to have this situation, you just push a button, and all of a sudden the window opens. It feels like gold.
When do Phil? Because I know football, basketball is a little different than baseball, but Coach would always, as a quarterback, you would always get out to the football field, and Coach is showing you where the play clock is.
Mm-hmm.
Where the 25-second clock is, the game clock, all the stuff you need to know. Do they have a walkthrough with baseball? Will they check out that park, or do they have BP out there?
Yeah, all 4 teams got in yesterday and had their specific designated practice times. And you're right the way that you're putting it. And I hadn't thought about that in a football stadium, because you would think, it's 100 yards, 50 yards, the same thing no matter where you go. But clock placement.
You're in different spots.
I didn't even think about that. You are absolutely right. And so you come here to take batting practice, And it's batting practice no matter where it is you go. But you get used to the batter's eye. It's a little different here than it is in other ballparks. They use it's an artificial surface, which obviously is different than at Walker Stadium. And you got to get used to the length of the warning tracks and the height of the fences and the nooks and the crannies in the outfield. And I'll tell you, there are more nooks and crannies in this outfield than there are in the top of Muffin. It's a lot going on out there.
Do you think it's more difficult, Phil, for the outfielders to adjust to a new park? Because the infielders, I guess the dirt's going to be different, if you got grass and stuff, but you're right. The dimensions, it's not just singular, every outfield's not the same. They are a little bit different.
Especially this. I mean, I'm like, so I look out here from the broadcast booth and I see on the outfield fence, distance designations on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots. Usually you just have like center field, power alleys, and down the base. But there's so many different measurements. 407 to straightaway center, 410 to the right of straightaway center, 326 down the right field line, 324 down the left field line. You know what stands out about this ballpark, man? These teams won't play in a bigger ballpark. I mean, the outfield all year.
That's what I thought.
This is huge.
Yeah.
Walker Stadium is big by college baseball standards, and that's 400 feet straightaway center. Here, it's 407 to center, and then about 20 feet on either side of that, it's 410. So, I mean, you got a national park out there that you got to control. So that's something you got to get used to. And I'll tell you, that'll be fun watching Ty Wilmsmeyer run these balls down out here to center field.
You better have some speed. No question about
it. You better have some speed. You better see the ball right off the bat, and you better have that watch thing working so you know what pitch is coming too. And we've got this place to ourselves practically the entire show. It's you don't have a game until 3:00 when Oklahoma State and Michigan will play, and then Arkansas. They're staying at the Rose Hotel right next door, so I guess they'll take a bus over here. I guess because it's like a couple blocks. But you could walk over here if you wanted to. It's pretty. This is such a great situation for a college baseball team.
It's 4 teams. You know how is 4 teams enough? You know how everybody's all like, we need to have more. Could you see them going to 18 for this?
I think they had 6 last weekend.
Oh, okay,
which means 3 games. 3 games a day. That's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So they have. What did the guy tell me? I think they have 17 college baseball games at Globe Life Field in a 14-day stretch. They had some midweek games this last week for Oregon State, and Michigan also played a midweek game here. So, I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, people wondered about why are you going to build a new ballpark for a franchise that had a ballpark that was 25 years old and there wasn't anything wrong with the old ballpark, which I can see through the windows out past that center, and that stadium's now called Choctaw Stadium. I think they're hosting whatever the next version of the XFL is. They merged with the USFL. I think they're playing football in that stadium now. But you didn't do a lot of college baseball stuff at that ballpark because it might be really cold. It might, who knows what it's going to be like this time of year here. This is the reason why you build a ballpark like this. So you can host events that don't have anything to do with the Texas Rangers. And yes, by the way, in the summertime, you don't have to play outside when it's 105 degrees. So that makes sense as well. Should be a big weekend, and the toughest game of the weekend, and truthfully, the biggest game in all of college baseball today is Arkansas and Oregon State. Number 2 versus number 7. Brand names, great players, and heck, I mean, the first at bat is an at bat that major league teams will be paying attention to. And Hagen Smith throws against Trevor Bazzana, the second baseman and leadoff batter for Oregon State. Like that's a matchup we probably see in the big leagues at some point, like within the next 4 years or something. So it's a big time, very big time. And I got it about 12:30 after the women's basketball game last night at College Station. That's a tough loss.
Heartbreaker.
Oh gosh, 10-point lead at halftime. Played a really good, especially second quarter. Even got up 14 early in the third, and then A&M just couldn't miss for a while there. 8 3-pointers. They scored more points in a conference game than they'd scored at any point this year, winning 73-67 over Arkansas. So, I mean, they kind of needed that one. Now I think in order to make an NCAA tournament, or at least be in the right position to get the bid to the NCAA tournament, you're probably going to need to win 2 of the next 3. And these next 3 are not easy. Not like any of the games in the SEC are, but these next 3 are tough. A good Vanderbilt team coming into Bud Walton on Sunday. The best team in the country in South Carolina on Thursday. Visit the Bud, and then you go on the road to Ole Miss, where the Rebels have been really, really good this year. Well, we got basketball tomorrow at Bud Walton Arena as well. Right about now, tomorrow, 24 hours, you'll be midway through the first quarter. And getting a chance to, keep Missouri where they deserve to be, which is without a victory in the league.
Missouri's not a very good basketball team.
Got to sweep. If you sweep A&M, you should sweep Missouri.
Thanks.
All right, here's what's halftime on a Friday. Golden Hour, hour number 3 from Neil Atkinson. James Teague stops by for baseball talk, hour number 2. Aaron Torres in just a moment. Stay with us.
Check it back in. Harry Robinson, Sallisaw Ford, 1 mile south of I-40 in Sallisaw. Ford F-150. The best-selling truck in the industry. And right now, for 72 months, you're going to get 1.9% finance. And there's not just 1 or 2 here on the block. There's just not red. They got all different colors here. Okay. The best-selling truck in the industry. So whether you're in Arkansas or in Oklahoma, if you're looking for a truck, that like the time and one that had great reviews over the years, then this is the one for you at Harry Robinson South Ford. And again, 1.9% financing for 72 months. So come on by and see it at Harry Robinson South Ford, 1 mile south off exit 308 on I-40 in South.
The Hangout, Fort Smith's newest fitness center. Over 8,000 square feet of 24-hour fitness. Indoor pickleball, tennis, and racquetball. Looking for help with your fitness needs? The Hangout has group and individual fitness training with more options coming soon. The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thehangoutfs.com. Pickleball leagues forming now. Be a part of something different, something better that Fort Smith has needs. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Did you guys switch over to shelter insurance?
Actually, kind of deal on that.
You did. Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
It was actually said.
Can we create a customized plan that fits? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
Insurance that fits just right. Find a shelter agent. The agent Jeff Clark in Fort Smith or agent Brad Howe in Avery.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work, real work. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, social security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We will...
This year, upgrade your home to safe, convenient, and energy-efficient natural gas from Arkansas Oklahoma Gas. Skip the free payments and delivery issues, and enjoy the peace of mind knowing that your natural gas is always there when you need it. And we can help make converting your home easy and affordable too. For heating, hot water, cooking, and more, it's time to upgrade to safe, reliable, and energy-efficient natural gas. Visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, Energy for Life. Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-DOOR or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
Patriot Transport wants to thank their drivers for their hard work and dedication. The local and over-the-road drivers are essential to the Patriot Transport mission. Day in and day out, Patriot Transport drivers are on the road striving for safety and success. To the behind-the-scenes dispatch and office employees, Patriot Transport thanks them as well for the hard work they put in day and night. If you want to be a part of the Patriot Transport family, visit patriottransport.com. Patriot Transport is located in Danville, Arkansas.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
up your sleepy head. Put on some clothes, shake off your bed. Put another love on the bar for me. I make some breakfast and coffee. Look out my window, what do I see? Bright blue sky and a head down. All the nightmares came today. So they here to stay.
Who's this? Who's
What are we coming to? No room for me, no fun for you.
Find halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain.
it? Sounds like Steely Dan almost. I mean, it sounds like the guy who sings for them.
Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
So the song takes just a minute to get into it a little bit there, but sounded good.
Bowie.
Well, who doesn't love David Bowie? Aaron Torres, I've never asked him, but I'm going to guess he loves David Bowie. He's on our McClarty Daniel hotline right now. David Bowie, thumbs up, thumbs down, AT. What do you think?
So two things. One, if it has the Phil Elson stamp of approval, then it has the Aaron Torres stamp of approval. Let's get that thing clear. Two, I guess you've never heard me do this spiel, Phil. I've been judged. I've been mocked. I don't really listen to music. I'm not like a huge music person. Now, when I was a kid, top 40, whatever, I certainly had some interest. But, as I've gotten older, when I get into a car, I either turn on sports talk radio or a podcast or even not always sports, just stuff that interests me. And so I'm not like a huge music head. And so on Fox Sports Radio, they always make fun of me. They're like, what do you mean you don't like music? And I'm like, not that I don't like music. I just, if it's come out in like the last probably 10 to 12 years, I just haven't heard it. I know David Bowie isn't, maybe he's done new stuff, but I know that, the prime of his career was not 2012 to 2024. But I just bring it up to say I'm not a huge music guy, and I've been mocked mercilessly for it on the national Fox Sports Radio airwaves.
Well, he died, I think, 8 years ago, so there won't be much new coming out from David Bowie for
Okay.
But,
well, AI technology these days, you never
that's
know.
a good point. That's a very good point. You've got a like-minded person on ESPN Radio with Hambone, who's on Greenie. I heard him talking about this once. He described it the same way that you did about what he'll do when he gets in the car. He said, so what do you listen to? He said, nonfiction. That's exactly what you're talking about. Sports radio, talk radio. That's the nonfiction version of what we might be listening to with music, I guess.
Well, I think that's exactly what it is. And yeah, and trust me, when I was a kid, and I like it, but all these people, they're like, oh, the music speaks to me. And I've said this for years now. They have that big Coachella music festival about an hour from where I live. And I've literally said there is nothing that interests me less than going to a hot desert with a bunch of people I don't know. And I'm just it's just like, I can't imagine anything I would want to do less than going to a music festival. But even I've been offered free tickets. Oh, hey, this 5,000 seat venue, this so-and-so is coming in. And I'm like, no. And I was like, I'm not interested. I have no interest in that at all. So, not to get too far down the road on music, but just not a ton of interest from my part.
That's all right. It says, hey, that's why you got all the takes on college basketball and college football and everything going on in the world of sports. That's exactly right. I could probably take a few.
I got nothing else going on. Exactly.
So we talked about this a little bit, and the idea of now we know we've got a 12-team playoff, and it looks like they're not even interested in keeping it at 12 teams. Here's my thing. And anytime anybody says about
access to the championship or trying to
give more teams a chance, to me it just always now comes across about money and nothing else. And it ends up getting to the point where you're going to have, it's basically going to be a 2-team playoff or 2-league playoff, SEC, Big Ten. So, what are we doing with the other conferences? Why are you around?
100%. And I forget, I know, Phil, I know you asked Greg, I forget if Matt was with you, but I know about a year ago or 2 years ago, you asked Greg Sankey because he kind of made some offhand comments about the NCAA tournament. And I remember you guys asking him about it. Listen, I said this the other day in an interview. I actually talked about this on my show today. Listen, I don't want to oversell. There's real issues in the world right now, like 14 teams versus 12 teams, whatever. But it is it literally, when I was reading this report, made my skin crawl, because it's like, we're in a situation where we haven't even played a 12-team playoff yet. Okay, so that's one. Two, I've said this many times. There are things that I don't like, but I at least accept the logic behind them makes sense. I can't think of a great example right now. But the argument that there are somehow teams in the 12-team playoff that are being left out is so ridiculous. And you go, and somebody brought it up this week, is that you go to just this past year. If we had a 14-team playoff, you know who would have been team number 14? The LSU Tigers. You know who hated watching the LSU Tigers last year? LSU fans hated watching the LSU Tigers.
Yeah.
He demanded that they change the entire coaching staff. And that is the team that we are leaving out of a 12. I do think 12 is the right number, especially with these expanded power conferences. And I think when you're talking about 12, it's exactly what you said, Phil. Even if we have 5 auto bids in a 5-7 format, we're talking about a scenario where minimum 3 and probably 4 SEC teams are getting in every year. And I am just here to say, and I know that the larger the playoff expands, the more it helps a school like Arkansas. But I am here to tell you, I think even the biggest SEC homer would acknowledge there has never been a time in the history of this conference that when we're talking about the 4th or 5th best team in this league, that they're good enough to win a national championship. Just take Ole Miss. Ole Miss was the definitive 3rd best team in this league last year and got destroyed by Alabama and got destroyed by Georgia. Granted, they were both road games, but you get the point. So is it going to – we're eventually going to expand. But can we get one 12-team playoff in before we just assume that the system needs more tweaks? It is unbelievable. Like I said, it makes my skin crawl. And like you said, Phil, it is such a blatant money grab. And I think lastly, too, and I know I'm going long, but lastly, it is going to hurt the regular season in college football. There is a point of demarcation where you can have too much access, and it does diminish the regular season, and it does hurt what we love about college football. So I could go on. I think I did like an 18-minute rant about this on my show this morning. I was so fired up. But it's just like it just drives me crazy. It really does.
Hey, Aaron, the SEC basketball regular season conference, there's 5 games left. You get Alabama and Tennessee. They're going to play on March 2nd. Which one of these? Who's holding the SEC regular season title? Alabama or Tennessee after these 5 games?
Guys, I'll tell you, I'm still blown away. Listen, I know that last year, I think publicly, Nate Oates did not handle several things well. I think he's doing an incredible job with this team because I look at Alabama, and I don't think they are better at a single thing this year than they were last year. Like, you look at last year, that was a team that looked like an SEC Power Conference champion on paper. 2 first-round picks, the number 2 pick in the draft, who I hear is playing well. I don't watch a ton of regular season NBA, but I hear Brandon Miller is having a great deal of success. Multiple other McDonald's All-Americans, whatever. I could go on and on. I bring it up because this year they're not better in the backcourt. They are not a better three-point shooting team. They don't have more talent. They don't have more size. They don't have more athleticism, and they continue to find ways to win games. And so I think Nate Oates is doing as good of a coaching job as anyone in college basketball right now. But I also circle back to to get to the question that you asked, Matt. I still do think Tennessee is the best team. And they have moments, including against Missouri the other day at Missouri, where they looked a little bit bored. I still think they're the best team. I think the fact that Alabama is even in that conversation speaks to just how well Nate Oates is doing with this particular group.
Can Carolina make a run in March? They're a little offensively challenged at times.
I don't know if you'd say they've been exposed at all by losing a couple of games recently, but their momentum's been slowed down a little bit. It's just a team. You got to be able to score in March.
Yeah.
Can their defense take them as far as their fans would like it to go?
It's a great question, Phil, and I struggle because, they look so – listen, they beat Tennessee at Tennessee, and I just said I think Tennessee's the best team in this league. But I also do look at the history of this tournament, and it's exactly what you said. It's to go on a real run. Now, if they're a 5 seed, can you go to can you win the opening round game? Of course. But to go on a real run, you do need to put the ball in the basket. And what ends up happening is a few things. Is one, just the deeper you go, you're going to play not only better teams, but just different styles, different whatever. And at some point, somebody's either going to get hot or you're going to get dragged into a game that's more up and down and back and forth. But the other thing is the reverse can happen too. And I think this is what happened. This is what has happened with Virginia in the past in the tournament, which is obviously a notoriously kind of slow-paced team, is that when you play so slow, there are so many fewer possessions that two things happen. One, if you fall down, it's basically impossible to come back. But even two, even if you're playing well, it's really hard to kind of open up a really, really big lead. And so, there's still, as you guys referenced, 2 full weeks left in the regular season plus conference tournaments. So we still have a little bit more time to evaluate them, Phil. But I do still tend to think more great regular season story that really isn't built for a second weekend or beyond. And it doesn't take away from what they've done and everything they've accomplished. But I do worry about how they're built in that term, within the NCAA tournament.
Hey, Aaron, a team I'm buying stock in, and it's maybe a little different than South Carolina, but the Florida Gators. They're big, they're athletic, they can run up and down the courts. I think that's a dark horse team that can make a run in the NCAA tournament.
Matt, you and I are on the same page here, and I think they're the exact opposite of what I just said about South Carolina. They can play big, they can play small, they can play fast, they can control the board. I'll get listen. I tend to do the thing where I give myself credit for everything and take no blame for anything. But I was watching them about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They played Georgia. They were up by like 20, blew a lead, and then ended up coming back and winning in overtime. And I tweeted out that day, I said, this team has top 25 talent in college basketball. If this team, and they were like on the outside looking in at that point of the picture, if this team doesn't make the tournament, that's on the coaching staff. And I bring it up because that following week, they went to Rupp Arena, and since then, their only losses, and they won at Rupp Arena, obviously, their only losses were to Texas A&M by 1 point and to Alabama in overtime in a game that they largely controlled. And so, Matt, I am totally with you. I think more and more seeding is less important. I mean, obviously, the better seed you have, historically, the numbers say you'll make a deeper run. But I just think they are built to win any, again, the opposite of South Carolina. I think they're built to win any style, big, small, fast, slow. They shoot the 3 ball well. They rebound the ball well. I actually really like them a lot, even though they did end up losing that game at Alabama the other night.
Hey, T, let's leave it there. We'll talk soon, okay? Appreciate your time as always. Enjoy the weekend.
Sorry for going 20 minutes on the college football playoff. It ruined the whole conversation. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
It didn't ruin anything. That's exactly the kind of thing we're looking for in that conversation about this playoff.
Absolutely. Thanks, Aaron. And you never know. I think David Bowie did win an award at one of the last award shows. So I know he's been gone, but he's still got stuff out there. Yeah.
877-377-6963 when you want to get with us on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Maybe I'm wrong that there won't be any new Bowie music. I mean, Prince, still stuff coming out from him. Tupac, come on now.
Right, I was at a concert and I saw a hologram Tupac that put on a great show.
Still waiting for that new Nirvana album. I don't know. It's a little delayed. Stay tuned. Halftime. We'll be back with Globe Life Field in just a moment.
Watching this lotto jackpot, it's now more than $750,000. What makes this jackpot different? For starters, it's only one in Arkansas. There's a drawing every Wednesday and Saturday night, and the jackpot keeps growing until someone wins it all. Don't miss your chance to be that lucky someone. Get your lotto ticket today in stores or on the Jackpocket app. Good luck, Arkansas. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Colony Family Help.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McCarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Looking for an African adventure without the hassle of planning? Kruger Safari Club has got you covered. Our custom hunting and safari packages take care of everything from transportation to accommodations, so you can focus on enjoying the experience of a lifetime. With our team's extensive knowledge of the best hunting and safari spots in South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, you'll have access to some of the most breathtaking views and exciting game hunting opportunities on the planet. And with our commitment to ethical hunting and giving back to the local community, you'll know that your trip with us is making a positive impact. Book your trip now and let us take care of the rest. Find out more at KrugerSafariClub.com.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
Later today.
Man, timing's never been my thing.
Killing me right now. Yeah. But, you know, the team did take the bus ride yesterday up here or down here. It's not up or down. It's southward to Arlington. So I guess that is somewhat apropos. Longest bus ride you've been on, Matt?
We did a trip to Salt Lake City when I was 7th grade AAU basketball team. And
it's gonna be a long drive.
Well, and we drove to New Mexico for practice first, or like a scrimmage, set up of scrimmages along the way type thing. That was pretty. Yeah, that was definitely. We stopped and we didn't make it all in one straight shot.
Now that wasn't on the school bus, right? That was on our regular.
I
sort of
think
coach
it was
bus.
kind of you know how like does it count if you're like in two of the big like almost like church style vans? Like I think we had rented like does that still count?
That sounds like potential company. When
You're
I hear
you're
van,
packed in like sardines, like we're out just said. Yeah.
okay, all right. Was there a smelly old bump standing next to you that
Hey.
hadn't showered in a year?
We none you know it's a 7th grade boy, so yeah, go.
I think the longest. I think we would try to hit. What would be the longest bus ride I went on? Because I mean, we would have working in a minor league that was in like Alberta and Montana and Utah and Idaho. We played for the team in Ogden, Utah. It's 16 hours via bus from Ogden, Utah to Medicine Hat, Alberta. It's just you stop in between and you play the Butte Copper Kings or the Great Falls Dodgers. You know, so you break it up for 2 8-hour drives. I think I was on a 10, 11-hour bus ride once. I can't do it anymore. I cannot do that anymore. I was on those sleeper buses with travelers for a long time, so we got kind of spoiled as far as that was concerned. But man,
Got to stretch your legs, huh? It's hard. It's hard.
even me,
Yeah.
I'm the smallest guy on the bus normally. I'll never forget. I've told you about it before. The tallest player in the history of professional baseball, Luke Van Mill, was on my travelers team in 2011. 7'1" Dutchman. He's trying to look at the guy who's literally folding himself in and out of a seat on the bus.
You've been in so I rode in the golf cart with Joe Klein, so that put us two in a golf cart. Yeah, that's.
I saw Joe tweeted today. Today's an anniversary. I guess would it be the 40th anniversary of when he was traded from Sacramento to Boston?
Oh, okay.
Think
That
about that.
would have been in the 80s. Yeah.
Man, I mean, that's a lot. I'm assuming Sacramento really wasn't very good. So to get traded from Sacramento, dead last probably, to Boston, now that probably lessened his playing time because you got the Chief there
And Kevin McHale.
and McHale, but you know that you're going to be playing in front of a raucous crowd in a historic building, and you might be playing for an NBA championship.
One of those teams too, if it was 85, they had Bill Walton, I think, for maybe the last year or so too. So they definitely had some bigs. That was what they talk about the best teams in the 80s, and it definitely the rivalry with the Lakers and the Celtics. But that 85-86 team is considered one of the best teams, like a top 5, top 7 ever all-time team that they had right there. I think they only lost one game at home that whole year. They were rocking that year.
So let's see here. This wouldn't be the 40th anniversary. He was playing for Arkansas 40 years ago. Joe went into the draft in 85. He was drafted at age 24. Age 24 with the 6th overall pick. Ain't going to be any 24-year-olds going in the top 10 anymore in the NBA draft, Matt. Boy, things have definitely changed. Not even in the last 40 years, but really in the last 25 years. So the trade happened in 88. Got sent from the Sacramento Kings to the Boston Celtics in 88. I mean, that was kind of at the end of the Boston run. That was after they'd already won a championship there.
That 86 team, Bill, they were 40-1 at home, 67-15 on the year. Yeah, that's the squad that people they say is up there with all of them.
On that team, he had there was McHale, Parrish, Dennis Johnson, Reggie Lewis. It might have been Lewis's rookie year. Larry Bird at age 32. He only played 6 games that year, obviously, with a back injury. And that was after. Yeah, that was after they had Bill Walton for the one. I was just kind of thinking about if you had Walton and Joe Klein on the bench. Joe's an interesting guy. He's really funny, great to talk to. I love what he does on the SEC Network. I think he's a really good analyst. Of course, he did great work for years on the Razorback basketball radio broadcasts. But I bet it would be like to sit next to Walt when he's not playing. What the heck is that guy going to talk about?
I mean, I bet he said he's always hungry, so I bet he's figuring out where his next meal is. Rick Carlisle was on that 86. So
yeah. Well, I just started thinking about it because it's the same thing as why am I forgetting our Daniel Gafford? Going from dead last. I mean, I'm happy Stanley Amudi just got his he's no longer a two-way player with the Pistons, so he's full-time with Detroit. Detroit is the dregs of the NBA. I mean, congratulations to Amida. You can't take that away from a guy. He is an NBAer, but it's on a really bad team. So hopefully there's a way for him to get a lot of playing time and maybe audition or help that team get better. But Gafford goes from, I guess, the second worst team in the Eastern Conference to really battling right by us here in Dallas, just down the road. Speaking of, did you see this happened at American Airlines Arena last night? The Suns and Mavs. Kevin Durant is walking on the court for pregame shoot around, and there's a couple. It looks like they're in their, I don't know, early to mid 50s, and it also looks like they've been in the sauce for a little bit, bathing in it.
They're having a good time. Yeah.
The moment that they see Durant walk out of the tunnel, they shout out. They called him a bitch. Woo! And he turned around. He spun on a heel. He walked over to him.
Been waiting. I was waiting all day for somebody to say something wrong. I woke up just waiting.
He walked over to him, and the woman like acts like they're going to be friends. She offers her hand for a dap, for like a cool person's handshake, and keeps it out there. And the look on her face when Durant didn't answer with his hand. Like, when's the last time somebody might have called you a bitch and you feel like it's time to dap that person up? The look on her face is becoming a meme of, wow, I didn't realize that when I said this about this person, you might not appreciate it. You know what? I'll try to make it feel good by dapping him up. It doesn't work like that.
She's a rich girl, and she's going too far, and you know it don't matter anyway.
I think she ate too much and she drank too much.
You get by on your old man's money.
Durant ended up walking away from him, and then the security staff nearly kicked this couple out of the arena. Durant comes over and tells them, "Don't throw him out." So, I mean, he ends up being the magnanimous one.
I'm going to put on a show for these peeps. Yeah, let me put on a show for them. I'll be your Huckleberry.
They're lucky. They're lucky that they didn't get their ass kicked. And it came right down to them. I don't remember the name of the player, and I heard this story about the game at that Wichita ballpark I just told you about a couple of seconds ago. There was a Wichita baseball fan. This got told through the years through Travelers fans, Travelers players, coaches, and all of that, and eventually got to me. It might have been Dimitri Young. Now that I think of it, I'd have to double check on this. But a Wichita fan shouting out to him, drops an N-word on him, calls him an N-word. He's an African American. He leaped the fence. He went after the guy for that, and you deserve it at that point. Like I've always said, you run on the field. That's when you better have the shield with you. Run on the court, run on the field. You're asking for it. If you drop an N-word on somebody, thinking that fence is going to be the thing that saves you, you get what you deserve at that point too. But I don't know. It's like, so they'll always say, "Hey, I paid for my admission. I paid for my ticket. I can say what I want." I don't know if I would be calling. I was going to say like a 6'11" Hall of Famer. Anybody, fan, security staff, player, coach, you can boo. What are we dropping the B word? It makes no sense. Anyway, that happened just down the street here, and then Dallas ended up with a victory out of that. I'm sure KD and the couple went out for drinks after.
Luka almost had a triple double. I think he had 41, 9, and 11. Kyrie Irving when he's on, his handles are still, first class. And then you add in some inside guys with Gafford. I think Phoenix might be a little. I don't know that they're all the way healthy, but they're trending. I don't know that they're trending up. I don't have that belief that Phoenix is going to be winning the title. And I'm a big time Kevin Durant fan. I think he was the best player in the league for about a 6-year stretch. Like no question. And then Booker he can drop 40 on your head any night. I just don't know what it is, but when I watch him play, I don't know if it's the physicality, if they got it, but I just don't see Phoenix winning the title.
877-377-6963 is our McClarty Daniel hotline when you want to get in with us. I'll tell you what, it's a gorgeous day to be outdoors today. They closed the roof on me here at Globe Life Field. Maybe there's a button I can push and get that sucker open again. The weather's great for fishing right now, so head on down to the tackle box for all your fishing supplies, rods, reels, lures, bait, and more, including all the fly tying supplies that you ever need. The adventure starts at the tackle box, and you can go online to tackleboxoutdoors.com and get all the information you need right there. James Teague joining us in about 30 minutes on the McClarty Daniel Hotline to talk Arkansas baseball. The Hogs taking on Oregon State tonight in a little more than 7 hours. And we'll wrap up hour number 1 of halftime in just a moment.
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
Hey, Robinson, check it back in. Harry Robinson, Sallisaw, Ford, 1 mile south of I-40 in Sallisaw. Ford F-150, folks. Best-selling truck in the industry, and right now for 72 months, you're going to get 1.9% finance. And there's not just one or two here on the lot. There's just not red. They got all different colors here. Again, the best-selling truck in the industry. So whether you're in Arkansas or in Oklahoma, if you're looking for a truck, if you're looking
dirt trail from the mound to home
Yeah.
plate. They don't have that anymore. Fenway would be one I want to get to. I've been to Wrigley, been to the one in Arlington, been to Colorado.
I'd like to go back to Milwaukee to ride that slide.
Right.
You can pay to ride the slide when you if you take the tour.
And then we get up there, you get your handle of beer, and you got to drink the beer by the time you get down the slide.
That sounds a little bit dangerous to pull off. You might spill too much beer, man. I don't know if you want to do that. Into a big old vat of beer too. Actually, you mentioned. I guess it's called Chase Field now. It used to be Bank One Ballpark, the home of the D-backs. They're talking about needing a new ballpark now. And that place opened in, I guess, 98 when the franchise came around. So, but it's not even 25, 26 years. They replaced the ballpark that was 25 years old here in Arlington, but they did it for reasons that, I don't know, just because the ballpark across the way was old or rickety or wasn't taken care of. Otherwise, they'd have torn the thing down and not use it for other events. But we're at that point now where some of the stadiums that were built in our late teenage years are going to be replaced. We look at the Braves built the new ballpark. That was, I think, 20 to 25 years after Turner Field opened. So I mean, and everybody wants the public money for it too. So that's the thing that ends up upsetting people.
Been to the Dome, the Devil Rays. Got to see them play.
Now, what did that feel like? Because I can't imagine that is too enjoyable.
It felt like when we played LSU basketball at 11 o'clock in the morning. There was 700 fans in the state. Baseball was secondary. That's for sure. And you could hear everybody talking. You could hear the players talking. It wasn't.
You could hear every beer being chugged.
Man, there wasn't it wasn't necessarily the atmosphere that you wanted, but it was pretty cool. I mean, it's still big leaguers playing ball, and it's kind of a different feel because it's not like there's a buzz in the crowd or an excitement. You're just kind of watching the show.
But you literally could hear the buzzing of the bees' wings in the stadium.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people there.
Chris in Springdale remembers about the swimming pool at Diamondbacks Park. That was a novelty. It's now I mean, look up the street in Frisco at the AA ballpark. They have a ballpark that's got a lazy river past the outfield fence.
There you
so
go.
I got your swimming pool right here, right?
Didn't the Dodgers go jump in their pool after they swept them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's I guess the equivalent of doing horns down in front of Texas.
If you get beat, you should have won.
Well, I guess you're all supposed to have to have a pool if you live in Phoenix somehow. So, but look, there was a pool at the first ballpark that hosted the Montreal Expos. Jerry Park, Willie Stargell hit a couple of home runs into that pool, but that was a municipal pool. People were just paying to go in there. A little bit different when you can actually watch the game from a hot tub. Stay with halftime. Hour number 2 coming up in just a moment.
Tired of constant computer issues at work, and who knows what the real problem is?
deal on a fantastic vehicle. You can visit any of their 6 locations in Springville and Bentonville. 3 o'clock first pitch for game 1 of this Kubota Weekend Classic, Oklahoma State and Michigan. The Cowboys have arrived. And I actually saw some of them earlier today. This happened the last time I came here to do a weekend series for Arkansas Globe Life. Then it was Ole Miss that was staying here. We had a weekend in which it was 3 SEC teams against 3 Big 12 teams. And I was on the same floor in the same hotel as the Ole Miss baseball team. Many of our listeners know how we all feel about Ole Miss baseball. We're very nice, actually polite to these fellas. Might have struck up a conversation with one or two. I got the same situation going on this weekend in which I am sharing the floor inadvertently with Oklahoma State. Now, Arkansas did not play Ole Miss that weekend. They played them later in the season. This was 2021. Arkansas does play Oklahoma State tomorrow night. So what was it that happened at the Super Bowl? Was it the 49ers that there apparently was a fire alarm that was pulled? And McCaffrey and Bosa were all upset about it. I'm not sure if that's the reason they lost the Super Bowl, but this isn't anything I need to do here, right, tonight to help out Arkansas?
You just call the front desk and say, yeah, I need a wake-up call at 3:21 a.m., room 707. And then there you go. Yeah, make sure, and then
you need a steak sandwich and your best beluga caviar and put it on the Underhills card.
Exactly. See Bessie.
Well, I've always said there's absolutely nothing that I can do or say on the air that will affect anything that happens down there on the baseball field. Unless you're staying on the same floor as I am.
You could Scott Weiland and just go get your megaphone and get you a big old pink fur meat coat, maybe the Barry Switzer style, and just walk in there and get some Scott Weiland songs.
That all works too. Yeah. Absolutely. We've got thoughts. We've got ideas. I'll take your thoughts and ideas on this as well. 877-377-6963. And you might want to just pay attention to the papers, the APY, or maybe the police monitor at some point later on tonight. My chest. I've got a game to call, then I'm just going to go to sleep. These guys will be asleep by then, I'm sure. But what college student stays up late in the hotel anyway? Charlie's with us on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Good afternoon. Charlie, how you doing?
Well, Phil, I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Great. I'm in a ballpark. I just wish they kept the roof open right now, but no complaints.
Man, you got it great, and it's great weather down there too, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be. The last time I was here for Arkansas baseball, it was so cold and snowy, the water system froze in Dallas, and we had to push the whole thing back a week. You wouldn't have been able to tell by being inside here. So who cares what the weather's like outside? Indoors here, it's like San Diego all the time.
I feel you. You said, you're going to have to call this thing by yourself. I wonder, though, are you going to because I know the bat kind of scares you when Bubba holds it, because that's a pretty big guy to hold the bat. But, are you going to maybe bring a bat along and just as a, that's Bubba right there? Are you going to just to kind of stick, that he's there, in spirit?
No, he'll be there with me in spirit. I'll look over my shoulder a few times inadvertently, just out of habit. I'm this big scary guy holding the bat next to me anyway.
Man, I was gonna say, yeah, he is. I mean, how tall is Bubba, by the way? Is he same height as Matt?
I think Bubba's like 6'2", probably like 6'2". I think he's 6'1" or 6'2".
Oh, so Matt even taller than him. Okay, I just wondered I thought he was taller than that. But anyway, he's just a big old guy with a baseball bat.
Yeah, he's barrel chest. Right, exactly.
Anyway, you'll do fine. The Hogs, they're gonna play well. I've been looking up Oklahoma State and not Oklahoma State, Oregon State. This is a good team we're gonna play. I was gonna ask you too. I know Hagan had the game he had last week and all of this and that. For us though, when you're playing a team like this that honestly may be really good offense, we're going to have to, in your opinion, probably be really good. I mean, we're going to have to be good offensively, don't you think, to beat this team?
I think so.
Yeah.
Look, you're also, you say, well, this is a great lineup that you're facing, but you also have a frontline starting pitcher that's going to give you more than an inning. It's going to pitch I would expect Hagan comes out and pitches really well. So you would think you'd have to get out there and score runs, but you never know on Friday baseball, man. In college baseball, you get two aces thrown against each other, and you may end up with a low-scoring game. So I'll tell you, I think the game can go in one direction, and it very well could go in the other. But I just know that this is one of the premier non-conference college baseball games in the country, not just for this weekend. This is the best game in the country tonight, but this is one of the headline games of the entire non-conference portion of the season. This is probably, I think, Oregon State's the best team on the West Coast. Arkansas is, one of the best in the SEC, maybe the best this year. Yeah, this is a headline game here tonight. It's two frontline teams that are used to winning, and I don't know the direction it's going to go here today. I really don't.
Do they still have their same coaches they did when they beat us a few years back? Same guy?
No. Pat Casey retired he had an interesting retirement. I think he might have retired after 2018, but then came back because they had Yeski, who was the pitching coach, then take over for a year. He's now, I think he's in Arizona. Pretty sure he's in Arizona. And then Casey came back for a year, and I think there were some things that went on in their administration and everything. He's a great baseball coach, but I also think Pat Casey's just kind of how to put it, an interesting bird. He had a lot of interesting, weird directors. I had family that worked at that athletic department, and Casey never let any statistics be shown on the video board. He didn't want his players ever looking at statistics. So I don't think they printed the stats in their locker room or clubhouse. They never put the team stats or the individual stats out there for fans to see. And I honestly never heard that before in any case. So the guy won 3 national titles, so he knew exactly what he was doing. Charlie dropped the phone. Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that. I thought he might have answered that. No, Mitch Canham is the head coach now. He's the head coach. He played here when they won their 2 national titles back in the aughts. So this is a program that, probably a little bit like Arkansas would look at it. When the legendary head coach steps down, you probably go to somebody who played for that coach. Just like Dave played for Norm, is it going to be a player who played for Dave that takes over when DVH decides that he's ready to retire? I don't think it's anywhere close to that. I think that sometimes it's too simplistic of a viewpoint to put on there, but you do the example put in front of you there.
Who was for Coach K? Was that Hurley? Was that Danny Hurley that took over for him? Did he play? Was he a player under Coach K? Because to your point, I'm pretty sure
that's John Shire. He played for him.
Oh, he played for him, and then Jim Boeheim wasn't at Autry?
That's right.
He's the guy. He played for him. And then Jim Calhoun, when he took over, it was a player who actually won. They've been winning championships though with different coaches, but it was
Kevin Ollie.
Exactly. So that does kind of seem like it's
but then
the way they go.
So look at like LSU. They've won 7 national titles in the last 30 years or so. They didn't hire somebody that played for Skip Berkman. When Berkman retired and took over the athletics director job, Paul Maneri was coach at Notre Dame. Now he was from that area, so I think that had something to do with it. And then there was Jay Johnson, I don't even know if he'd ever been to Louisiana before he took over the coaching job there. So, it's not always done in that fashion. It just seems to make sense sometimes when it is done that way. And I don't think Dave Van Horn is anywhere close to being ready to retire. He's got as much competitive fire as anybody else does, and probably more so. All right, we'll break. And speaking of guys who played for Dave Van Horn, James Teague joins us in just a moment on halftime from the Teague Law Firm. I saw James throw out a really, really good and accurate ceremonial first pitch last week on Saturday at Paul Walker. It looks like you can still get out there and throw. The thing is, when you got little kids with you, it's kind of tough to stick around at a baseball game. So I'm not sure how long James was there. James Teague from the Teague Law Firm, former Arkansas pitcher, joining halftime in just a moment.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Looking for an African adventure without the hassle of planning? Kruger Safari Club has got you covered. Our custom hunting and safari packages take care of everything from transportation to accommodations, so you can focus on enjoying the experience of a lifetime. With our team's extensive knowledge of the best hunting and safari spots in South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, you'll have access to some of the most breathtaking views and exciting game hunting opportunities on the planet. And with our commitment to ethical hunting and giving back to the local community, you'll know that your trip with us is making a positive impact. Book your trip now and let us take care of the rest. Find out more at KrugerSafariClub.com.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insights and analysis?
Hell yeah.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor A from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at Hit That Line AA.
figure out. James, happy Friday, and how are you today?
I'm doing good. We're out here on the water at Bull Shoals, so we're going to get away from the rat race a little bit of legal world. So nice break.
Are they biting yet?
So we've got 3. We've got 2 browns and a rainbow. We got out here a little bit ago. So we're just kind of getting started.
Outstanding. So you stepped away from paradise just to talk a little baseball with us for a moment. We appreciate that. Yeah. Good job on the first pitch on Saturday. It looked like a strike. That must have been fun, especially with Bobby Wernis, your former roommate, doing the catching.
Yeah, I was giving him a hard time beforehand about spiking it or this or that. It would have been a little high. I don't think it was quite a strike, but I had to take the spike out. That's the big thing.
You weren't able to stay for game too long. Now, that was the game that they went 15-5. So, I mean, it got a little bit closer in like the 6th inning, and then they opened it up and went in a run rule. But how long were you able to stay? Because I know you had the whole family there, which means little kids.
Yeah, so nap time hit about the 3rd inning, and it was not one that we could salvage. So we ended up taking off about then. But, yeah, it was good to be back in the park, see Hagen, everyone, kind of back doing their thing.
Outstanding. You ever been to Globe Life Field where Arkansas is playing this weekend?
I don't recall. I may have been once a long time ago, but we bounced around to so many different places. Honestly, it gets hard to keep track.
Well, this is a newer park. This opened when I think it was 2020. So probably I don't think you have.
Probably not then.
Bigger ballpark. This is a huge field. It's 407 feet to straightaway center. It's 410 just to the left and right of straightaway center. More than anything, it's the bigness of the ballpark and not just the stands, but the outfield. That's a difference between this major league park and just about any park Arkansas plays in, with the exception of the Schwab, of Charles Schwab Field. That's a huge outfield too.
Yeah, I mean, when you're pitching, you love going to these big fields, of course. You give up balls that, in some games would take you out of the game, 2 or 3 run home run, and it's a routine pop fly. So as a pitcher, I'm never complaining about a big outfield.
What did you you just kind of throw away Hagen's start on Friday? That's the way that I think everybody would like to look at it, because you just would expect he's a lot better coming in. It was cold and everything, so we've got all the reasons, or some might call them excuses, but there isn't anywhere to go but up for Hagen, and he's just facing a really good team today.
Yeah, I think you got to find your game speed is really for Hagen. You really can't replicate the speed of the game, your mechanics. I think he got a little sped up. I think he may have overthrown a little bit, but he'll find that rhythm. I mean, it's not as though the stuff wasn't there. I think it's kind of ironing it out and finding that game speed. You can throw bullpens, you can do scrimmages, you can do that for months on end, but things are just different in the game. And when things get a little bit different from a mechanical standpoint, that's when you can get off and not really know how to fix it on the spot.
That's when it helps to get a visit from the pitching coach. But at that point, they're going to have to let you figure it out for yourself. And I wonder about all the time that you put into fundamentals, not just the pitching, but of the game. Those small things, how to turn the bases properly, how to, the communication on cutoffs, or when to let a ball go through. You practice all of those to be ready for the game, but it doesn't always equate being ready for it early. Which is sometimes it feels like the season crept up on you. They'll say, "Oh, we're ready. We want to face somebody that's wearing a different uniform." But then the game happens, and it's like, all right, well, practice is one thing, but putting it into practice in a game, sometimes it feels like it kind of come on you a little fast.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the beauty of the sport, though, compared to something like football, where you don't have that many games. Is you have, thankfully, a period to kind of iron some of those things out, and so, those guys are going to be fine. The starters are good enough to figure it out. I think it's just going to be a matter of, finding that game timing, finding a way to control those nerves, and just executing as we know that they all can.
And also the idea that, look, they didn't play a very good game on Sunday and lose, but bounce back on Monday and win the series with a really well-played game and well-pitched game. But, when you're a baseball player and you're highly ranked, you get upset on your own field by an opponent that's coming out of conference, doesn't have a big name, there's a reaction from the outside that's like, oh my gosh, what just happened? This is a huge upset. But I didn't see anybody, wearing the uniform worry about that too much. And it was shown to me the next day by how well they played the day after.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to beat anybody 4 times in a row, frankly. I mean, whether you're way outmatched or how it goes, and we see that in regionals all the time. Teams come in and they get beat by lesser teams, but then they bounce back and they end up winning the regional. So, beating the same team, I thought that team was pretty good from watching them. I thought they had some pretty good arms. They battled well at the plate. I think really to beat anybody 4 times is tough, and I don't think we played our best baseball, but I think we showed enough where we can kind of see, okay, if we put the pieces together, this is a legit team, and that one loss isn't really going to change that.
So thinking about some of the pitchers, like we talked about Smith, McIntyre, I think, was the most valuable pitcher of the weekend, maybe the most valuable player of the weekend. Brady looked good. Cody Frank looked really good. Molina had some moments. I want to ask you about Colin Fisher. Left-hander, freshman, pitched the Monday game. He's from Noble, Oklahoma. And, he's not one of the names that I think we heard a lot about. Not necessarily one of those pitchers like, oh, my gosh, this kid actually made it to campus. But he's got an interesting mix. 3 different pitches, maybe 4. He can work both sides of the plate. He's got size for a freshman. He's a lefty. He threw a lot of strikes. And, I think all things being equal, I was probably most impressed with him this last week.
Yeah, and you really need those guys who can come in who have a mix, who maybe aren't the flamethrowers. They're maybe not can't believe this guy got to campus, but reliable arms, especially young arms. We're like, well, we know what we've got here, but we're going to need a couple bonus arms to make a run really in any team. And, yeah, I was really impressed by him, just his composure, his stuff, and his ability to come in from day one. Really compete.
What do you think we can see here this weekend? I think if you beat Oregon State, you can definitely be 3-0 this weekend. It's just getting past Oregon State is going to be a chore. This is the best game in college baseball of the entire weekend. I mean, national. I think the scouts will be drooling over it. Fans are going to get a treat tonight.
Yeah, I don't know who's starting for Oregon State. I didn't see who their starter was, but I think if Hagan shows, 70-80% of what he's got, and he goes out there and competes, and he's able to, attack the zone, I don't think with this lineup, I think he can still outmatch this lineup. And then, we saw bits and pieces from the offense off of the weekend. They could bust it open at any time. But yeah, I mean, this is why you play for these big moments and big parks to be able to go out and compete against, some of the best players in the country and ultimately show that, you're better than those guys. That's why you came to Arkansas and came to this program.
When you think about Oregon State, of course, the rematch from the 2018 College World Series Finals. But, I mean, Arkansas really has a lot more history with Oklahoma State, the team they'll play on Saturday night. Beat them last year. I think it was 18-1 in this ballpark. Beat them in their own regional the year before. And, hey, that 2015 Stillwater Regional, so that's a team you were a part of. That was the first step of getting to Omaha in 2015. And boy, you guys really stunned the Cowboys at that weekend.
Yeah, they had a lefty who was an All-American who was really, really good that we beat the first time, and we came back and beat him again. But with Oklahoma State, those games are always chippy. I don't know why, but everyone likes to chirp a little bit. I don't know what it is about playing Oklahoma State, and we kind of saw that with Rock Reggio, and we saw that with all the offense and all the, the chirping back and forth in that regional. I think it's 2 years ago. So that matchup is always, must-see TV, just kind of based on the history and how those teams compete.
I don't know if you've seen their new ballpark, which is really nice in Stillwater, O'Brate Stadium. Now, I remember the old place. You do too. Allie P.
On the outside, there was no way to see the game, so we were all standing on chairs just trying to watch what's going on. Our walkie-talkie systems were down, and so it was pretty chaotic trying to figure out who's getting hot, who's
Hotline right now, 877-377-6963. Calls and texts coming in on that McCarty Daniel hotline for the next hour and a half. Our golden hour is fast approaching, too. Stay with us. Halftime back in just a moment.
To remind everyone, they are your local trusted insurance agency for all your life and health insurance needs. They are located in the Northville Shopping Center at 912 Highway 6265 North in Harrison. Feel free to drop by the office anytime, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or call 870-517-1207 to schedule your appointment now. And don't forget, they are local people.
couldn't miss. They had 8 3-pointers, a team that averages about 4 per game. And I hate to use the term must win for a lot of cases, but that one felt like must win for Arkansas to really have a good shot at an NCAA tournament. But not to say that they can't make it there without that win last night. It would have gone a long way, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaker. Being up 14 and taking the L, that's I wonder, if players today, if you don't ever want to lose, obviously, but if you get beat by 21 and you never leave the entire game, or do you want to be up 14 at halftime and then lose? It's kind of a heartbreaker.
Take your choices, right? Would you rather lose in a baseball game that you are leading going into the 9th inning, or would you rather just get crushed? Like, that's the thing. You wouldn't sit around. You wouldn't sit around when you're down 13-0. Obviously, if you're broadcasting the game, you don't have a choice. I guess I'd rather call an interesting game. Last night was an interesting game. It's not very fun, like the Tennessee game, 2 games prior, where Tennessee got, I think it was 13-0, and it pretty much was the story of the game. So at least in a broadcaster sense, I'd like some drama. But that was a tough one to be a part of for them last night.
Did you say they had 4 games left, the Ladybacks?
There's 3 left after that last
so
night.
they need to go 2-1 before the SEC tournament. Can they do that?
I think they can, but they'll need to win at Ole Miss. Now, look, nobody's beating South Carolina.
We got South Carolina left on the schedule?
South Carolina coming up Thursday at Bud Walton Arena. Nobody's beating South Carolina. You can play your best game, and it usually is not enough. But, miracles can happen. You can beat Vanderbilt. I think you can beat Ole Miss on the road, as long as there aren't. Look, and I think that there are ebbs and flows in every game. It's tough to keep momentum up for an entire 40 minutes. It's just that's kind of been a calling card for the women's basketball team this year, is real fluctuations in performance within the game, quarter to quarter, 5 minute by 5 minute. They played an incredible second quarter. I know that there are halftime adjustments and things like that, but it just was it was a rough second half last night. But they still look, and I don't think if you finish 7-9 in the SEC and win 2 games in Greenville, that's not enough. I've always said, and I think that there's evidence of this, a little run in the conference tournament usually is not enough to get you over the top. You got to win that conference tournament. Otherwise, just playing well and winning 2 games is not enough. I think there was a year that Arkansas did that. Yeah, went all the way to the championship game, lost to Mississippi State, but didn't get a bid. Ended up with an NIT bid. So I think you make your case, you make your resume in the regular season. And I don't blame the committee for sort of just like, all right, you got this conference tournament thing, whatever. We'll give an at-large bid. We'll give a bid to the team that wins the thing. We'll leave it at that. For the men, you get some people that are trying to look at the idea that if you keep winning and you keep playing as well as you do, and you need to win these next 2, maybe you can make a run in Nashville, but I couldn't see it if you're playing the first day. If you've got to play on a Wednesday and then play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's going to be awfully tough to do. You get out of that first round, I think it's doable. In order for that to happen, you're going to need to win these next 2 games and then probably pull off an upset somewhere.
Yeah, then you want to stay away from Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama. Stay away from those teams when you get there.
Because you do have them on the schedule, unfortunately.
I was going to say the best case scenario. There's 5 games left. If we can win our home games, if we could win 2 of these next 5 and then win 1 in the SEC tournament, I think that's maybe we could win 3 regular season games left. It's going to be tough.
877-377-6963 calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Eduardo is here with us first. Eduardo, what is new these days? Why are you not here in Arlington?
I'd love to be there. I know what you're smelling, because I'm starting to smell it. You know what is the mojo? The baseball, what I call baseball hunk mojo. And I hope it's on full display tonight down in Texas against the Beavers. Let me say this. Does it get any better for baseball? Let me tell you, 2 premier programs
There's the Beavers are one thing, Eddie. The Beavers are one thing, and that drums up some pretty bad memories for Razorback fans. But when you talk about memories that you want to remember, you got to turn that radio down too. When you talk about memories you want to remember, playing Oklahoma State, I think would be at the top of the list. So the Beavers had the last laugh against Arkansas, but when you look at the postseason and even last year in the regular season, the Hogs have had the last laugh on the Cowboys for quite a while now.
That's exactly right. When you talk about, the series against the Beavers for the world title, World Series title, in 2018, it's hard to take. That's as close to winning a national championship in any sport, sir. I mean, it's still painful today. But, we should have beat the Beavers. Somebody's got to lose. That's why you play another day. And I just wait patiently for Coach Van Horn and the baseball hot train to bring the title back to Baum Stadium. Let me say this. This will go a long way for confidence. You talk about we got some young pitchers, we got some young hitters, and what a way to get the hot train rolling this season tonight. And what is the motto? One more time. It's our pitching. It's our defense. It's turnover free and get them bats hot. And serve the Beavers. If you do that tonight, you're going to be one of the premier teams in the country and get this steam rolling. So blow a whistle. Let's beat the Beavers tonight.
I hope it happens, Eduardo. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you for listening to our show. Did I hear Eddie drop a turnover in there for baseball? Did I hear turnovers? You got to not turn the ball over in this sport here?
Unforced errors.
It was just I thought I heard turnovers. Which you could say that about any sport. If you don't even know what the matchup is, you say, well, whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win the game. You're probably right. You're probably right. In basketball, in football, whoever wins the turnover battle is probably going to win. Nobody's ever won a turnover battle in baseball. I don't think it's ever happened before. This could be a brand new strategy on this sport. Don't turn the ball over, which means, remember in baseball, who actually has possession of the ball? It's the team in the field. The team at the plate is trying to hit that ball as far as they can away from it. So it's completely opposite to all these other sports. So in that case, if you're not going to turn the ball over, you're just going to be in the field the entire game. It's a whole reverse strategy, Matt. I'm glad we figured this out.
I like it. As far as this basketball team feel, they can go win-win right here. And that would be 3 in a row. Then you go at Kentucky. That LSU game, remember we didn't guard Baker. They had that dude hit like 3 out of 4 threes in a 6-minute span. Then you finish with Alabama. I think the best case scenario is 3. Out of these 5 games, you can win these next 2. And I think we can. I mean, LSU's not. They have better athletes than us, but they're not. I mean, they're nothing to write home about. They're not necessarily a tournament team either. I know they just beat Kentucky at home
and rushed the court for beating the number 17 team in the country.
What are you going to do?
You said there was a court storming last night in Jonesboro for beating Troy and getting to 500. We have too many court stormers. I'm sorry. And for those who are like, let the students have their fun, we have too many court stormers. We have way too many court stormers. We got updates on injuries from some of the guys who've been missing games. Musk said yesterday, Matt, that Trevin Brazil will, without a doubt, play this season as long as there are any setbacks. As long as there aren't any setbacks.
Hey, this is the game to bring him back. If he's making it through practice, and like I said, if you can get 5 minutes, a half out of him this game and then the Vanderbilt game, I mean, you need your best athletes, and he's one of our best athletes, if not the best athlete on this team. I know he's our number 1 NBA prospect, and you have it just gives confidence. When you go out on the court with better players, it should elevate everybody's game.
So with Graham, a shoulder injury in the loss to Tennessee, Musk said he didn't practice yesterday, might be able to practice today. So if I hear might practice today, doesn't sound like he'll be ready to go for Saturday. And with Menifield, day-to-day with a groin injury. Those groin injuries, man, there's probably nothing that lingers longer when you're an athlete than a groin injury. Would you say a hamstring might linger too, Matt?
They're both, your lateral movement, your change of pace, those are both tough movements when you have a soft tissue like that. Phil, you get the two worst teams, the worst teams in the SEC coming into town. You want to get healthy, get confidence, go out there and play well. Nothing's guaranteed in this league. We know that, but these are two games. Arkansas should win these next two games. It starts with one, starts with Missouri, but we can very easily win these next two games.
Well, it's certainly the way to build your confidence.
Absolutely.
Regardless of who it is you're playing, if you're playing well and you're beating teams that are on the same court as you, you're going to feel pretty good. So, maybe you get a 3-game winning streak heading into this.
Going back to Kentucky,
It's going to be a really tough stretch at that.
At Kentucky, home LSU, at Alabama to finish the season. That Tennessee-Alabama matchup to see who wins the title, because I think that too it's going to be one of those teams. They play in a couple games, but Tennessee finishes with 4 ranked opponents. Kentucky has a couple tough ones there as well. But as far as Alabama finishes with Arkansas now.
I was going to look at the Tennessee schedule here.
It's A&M, Auburn, Bama, South Carolina, Kentucky, and the Alabama schedule is Kentucky, Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas.
No pushovers there for Tennessee.
That's what they finish. If they win the SEC title, they earn it, Phil.
Get batting practice set up here for Oklahoma State. So you got this history with Oregon State. You got this history with Oklahoma State. You know who doesn't have any history with Arkansas baseball? Michigan. None. Teams have never played before. I think the only teams that Arkansas has played from the Wolverine State are Central Michigan. But no, I remember calling a game. I think I was filling in for Chuck when they played Central Michigan. Eastern Michigan played Eastern Michigan. Yep. They played Eastern Michigan, they played Central Michigan, but not Michigan or Michigan State.
Who's Michigan's best baseball player, or who do you think of when you?
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter went to the University of Michigan.
Did he go there? I mean, he was at least signed. I don't remember if he played there for a year or not. He was there. He's like connected to it.
Okay, Michigan Wolverine.
Outside of that, I'm not exactly sure.
Because you can name a bevy of football players and an array of basketball players. I was wondering if Michigan had any names in the baseball room.
Yeah, no, Jeter was committed to play at Michigan, but he never did because he was the 6th overall pick out of high school by the Yankees.
He made the right decision.
From Kalamazoo. No, he should have gone to college. Come on, man.
3 years?
Definitely. Go get your education. Never mind if you actually got to the big leagues just 4 years after you were drafted out of high school. Never mind getting 3,000 base hits or maybe being the greatest shortstop in Yankee history and winning 4 World Series. Should have gone to school and got that education. It's pretty smart. Wrap up hour number 2 of halftime just a moment. Stay with us.
Is live on location. Check it back in. Harry Robinson, Dallas off forward, 1 mile south off of freeway off
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got trophies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Looking for an African adventure without the hassle of planning? Kruger Safari Club has got you covered. Our custom hunting and safari packages take care of everything from transportation to accommodations, so you can focus on enjoying the experience of a lifetime. With our team's extensive knowledge of the best hunting and safari spots in South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, you'll have access to some of the most breathtaking views and exciting game hunting opportunities on the planet. And with our commitment to ethical hunting and giving back to the local community, you'll know that your trip with us is making a positive impact. Book your trip now and let us take care of the rest. Find out more at KrugerSafariClub.com.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jones Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jones Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor A from Woodland. Read about it.
Was announced today that Liverpool and Manchester United will play at Williams-Brice Stadium as part of a three-city Rivals in Red tour. They'll play there August the 3rd. It's a preseason tour for these clubs. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a chance to see the younger kids play. You're not going to see the Galacticos in that game, but you get to see their.
They're going to send out the B team for that game, the C team.
It's a preseason game. It's like preseason NFL football. Peyton Manning's not playing in that. LaDainian Tomlinson's not playing in that.
So it's just the laundry that you're like, wow.
But they would
Liverpool's here. Man United is here.
But they're still better than American players. The backups over there are better than the Americans. So it's still good talent, but it's a preseason game. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool, though, to see that something like that in Fayetteville at some point. I wonder why they're doing it in Columbia. August 3rd.
They played
right around the time that the preseason camp starts, too.
They played a game at the Big House, I want to say, last year. It might have been Real Madrid and Man United, but it was, because the Big House, I think it's 106,000, and they sold it out. So, yeah, they've been doing that, kind of getting that American flair.
All right, I'm trying to coalesce around the idea of what it is I need to do with these Oklahoma State guys tonight. And I don't want to be like too rude about it, but Should I just play the music a little bit louder tonight when I get back? I mean, it's a 7 o'clock game. I won't make it back to the hotel until about 10:30. Not like I can just go to sleep. You got to wind down a little bit. Maybe have a drink in the room and turn up some. Well, I mean, I don't want it to be the soft music. I'm trying to at least get into their sleep a little bit.
Turn up some Beastie Boys.
Yeah, Beastie Boys.
There you go.
Turn it up to 11. Maybe I'll just turn on Spinal Tap the movie and turn it up to 11.
Keep your door open. Yeah. Let all the sound go out.
It's so odd, because I don't stay in the team hotel very often any longer. But every once in a while, I'll be around one of the other teams, and if they see me with the Razorback logo, and they look at me, like they give you a cross-eyed look. Give you a cross-eyed look, and then wonder if you're going to do something cool. Nope, not at all. Meanwhile, Bubba is arguing with an Oregon State fan account on Twitter. That's appointment viewing on Twitter right there.
I like the fantasy land. I like the make-believe argument. Somebody once told me, they said they got put in Facebook jail. I said, what are you talking about? Because they had an argument on Facebook. I was like, what, is that a real thing? You get on arguments on Facebook? Like, yeah.
There's Facebook jail and there's Facebook court with a Facebook judge and some weird set of laws that nobody understands.
If it's a screen name, everybody's taking this social media way too seriously. I always go back to what Doug Gottlieb said, and this is the only thing that this Oklahoma State Sooner has said that I think I agree with. But he said, I'm not going to argue basketball with somebody who can't make a left-handed layup. So you're getting in these fantasy land. It's just like, don't. It's like Kevin Durant didn't give those people, don't not that big of a deal.
Hey, I agree with him about that too. I can't make a left-handed layup, so I guess my opinion wouldn't count at all.
You don't argue basketball.
Not too much.
You're pretty sharp, Phil. You know sports.
Are you sure Gottlieb didn't also say, hey, wait a minute, that's not my wallet? Oh, is it too that's too long for a joke about something like that? He owned up to it. People still send that to him. Anytime he says anything on anywhere. But Bubba's going back and forth with this Oregon State Twitter account. I love it. I've never seen him do this with anybody before. Out of all the programs that he hates, and Ole Miss is at the top of the list of hatred for him. I've never seen him do a back and forth with an Ole Miss Twitter account. Oregon State came at him, and he's going right back at him too. Appointment tweeting.
I like it. Some people are just they're drawn to toxicity.
It's appointment radio coming up in just a moment. The golden hour of halftime is fast approaching. We have Neil Atkinson from Beck Saracen in about 20 minutes, and your calls and texts. We return in just a moment.
Drive a third-row SUV that is style in motion with the 2023
the start of the weekend, we got to have a late night. We got to have a crazy night. Let's go have fun and everything. By the end of the week, your normal Ric Flair scream at the top of your lungs, woo, is, what is it again, Matt? Exactly. It's like you got nothing left. I got a little something left. This baseball series will carry me through the weekend. And we'll see how next week goes. Crossover season is never easy. Neil Atkinson coming up in just a little bit. This is an open segment for you. The NFL is raising the salary cap, $30.6 million. How many guys can you get for $30.6 million, huh? One quarterback, maybe?
Dak Prescott?
Right. Yeah, get you a first-round exit. This is with $30.6
Jordan
million.
Love comes into town and find out who a quarterback is.
The salary cap in the NFL will be $255.4 million for one season. It's a 13.6% increase over last year's cap. Wow. This is all tied to the amount of revenue that the league made the year before. So this tells you that the NFL just made a massive amount of money.
It was the most. They had some of the most watched games ever, regular season games, and then the Super Bowl with the Tay effect. That it was the most watched ever.
There's a lot of teams that would be cap strapped that maybe don't view themselves that way now. Get an extra $30.6 million. So they say that on the ESPN story, this is the largest jump from one year to the next ever. And the salary cap was introduced in 1994. Very interesting. Free agency starts fairly soon, right? So you have to get this number out there before you worry about how much you can pay anybody. Cap dropped by nearly $17 million because of the pandemic in 21. And was it $182 million in 2021. So from $182 million salary cap from 3 years ago
to over 250
to over $255 million. Now that's just 3 years. That's 3 years. That's amazing. Now, I mean, you would expect that the revenues grow.
Yeah, it's about 25 a year.
Well, you'd expect that they grow from the pandemic because things kind of hit bottom. But that's amazing. That's amazing. And I remember a point where, it's not like you wondered if the NFL would exist anymore, but because of, certain political views people had, they stopped watching because of concussions and CTE. You might have thought that people don't have the stomach to watch the sport, knowing what can happen to these players later on in life. But I also think that at this point, if you're watching football, you've accepted that, and now now it's understood that these injuries can happen. So it's not like the NFL's certainly isn't going away. Certainly is not going away. $30.6 million, something else. And now people wonder when there could be a salary cap for college football. I think we're headed in that direction. I really do. I think that there's forces within athletic departments that are looking, where they can scrape some savings together to form a fund that will pay their athletes on campus. And I don't think it's just going to be the football players. I think they'll be salaried employees that are playing sports on campus, and I just wonder if that means you're going to have fewer sports. But that is coming around. I think when there are salaries paid from athletic departments, from universities, directly to players, well, that also tells me you've had the necessary negotiations, and you can, at that point, probably have a salary cap. So it's on the way. Who else is on the way? Cody and Blue Ball is on the way on the McCarty Daniel Hotline. Cody, how you doing today? Perfect phone caller for the Golden Hour. That's right.
Hey, what is the Golden Hour without a little Cody from Blue Ball, right, Phil?
Well, that's not why you called Cody. I mean, you called no matter what the day is or what the hour is. It just kind of fits at this moment.
I know, man. Hey, that's what good nephews do for their uncles and their best friends, T-Bone and C-Unit, guys. I just can't do it without talking to you guys at least once a week.
If I'm if I'm Uncle Phil and you're my nephew, does that mean that I get to toss you up in the air at Thanksgiving and hopefully not drop you?
Oh man, I can't wait. Drop me or not, Phil. That's gonna be fun for both of us.
Something tells me you might be a little larger than I am.
Oh no, Phil. I'm about $150, about 5'10". I got strong cheekbones, really good looking.
And the sense of humor to match.
And a sense of humor to match, Phil. Hey, I know you got a little trouble with this rebel rousing you're going to try to do tonight, but man, I've got the perfect solution for you, buddy. I've been sitting here thinking about it.
Okay.
And a song had popped up on here while I was listening, but it was Ray Stevens, "The Street." Phil, you need to play that song as loud as you can, man. Streak up and down that hallway to the quad, and I promise you the Cowboys will probably either go home or lose very, very bad. What do you think?
This could work. I mean, I think an idea of playing the same song over and over again to drive somebody crazy, I've seen this in some movies before. What about, I want to play a baseball song for them, but I want to play it for them over and over and over again so that they can't sleep. So I'm thinking about The Fireman. That's a baseball song. Who performed The Fireman? You know that song. They Call Me the Fireman.
Oh, yeah.
That's my name. I forget who sang it. That's George Strait? Okay. We're going to play The
George
Fireman
Strait.
all night long on the fourth floor of some hotel that's around the ballpark here. I won't tell you what it is because you'll probably invade the floor, knowing you, Cody. But
Phil,
it's going to be great. It'll be 8 hours of George Strait singing The Fireman over and over and over again. These guys are going to show up cross-eyed tomorrow.
Oh, man, I guarantee it. What if you do the thing from Ghost where Patrick Swayze sits over there and sings Henry? I'm Henry the Eighth, and what if you do that?
Not a bad idea. That was enough to annoy Demi Moore in Ghost. It would be enough to annoy these kids, too. But then I have to sing it, and I've already got my throat's already a little scratchy. I don't know if I need to be singing for them because that's not going to help our broadcast. I need somebody else to do the singing for me. George Strait's as good of an option as anyone.
Oh, yeah. Phil, I hope you get to feeling better, bud. I really do. I could definitely tell your throat's a little bit hoarse. And I've been listening to you and Bubba doing the baseball and stuff, man, and I really like that guy from Greenwood. What was his name?
Peyton Holt.
Yeah, I really like that guy, man. He seems to be a really good player, and to come from Greenwood, I mean, Brett Michaels had a house there. What does that tell you? From Guns N' Roses. I mean, that's got to be something. But I was really impressed with how he played.
Guns N' Roses. I got to cut you off after. They just say Brett Michaels was in Guns N' Roses. Come on. He was poison. He did not have a house in Pittsburgh. But everybody's been to Blue Ball, right? According to Cody, we've had Ty Cobb stories, Babe Ruth stories, Ryan Sandberg stories, and now I don't know if he meant Slash or if he meant Axel or if he was actually talking about poison.
Put another dime in the jukebox, baby. That could be a song to play through. That's a good 3-4 minute song. Play that on repeat. That'd get on your nerves.
It's going to be a really fun night. It's going to be an absolutely fun night. I can't wait. Yeah, Peyton Holt. I like Peyton Holt a lot. I think he's, which will be the term here, a gamer. He's a gamer, man. When the light, they always say, if you're going to describe somebody a gamer, you always have to use the term when the lights are on. Those are the things that go together.
The bigger the moment, the bigger the player.
There you go. Exactly. We'll get our gamer cliches going here. The moment's never too big for him. That fits too. But I'd say that I agree. I agree about that with him. You know, one thing though is he's going to have to move back over to third base once Stovall is fully healed from his broken foot. And it's nothing against Peyton here, but I think if they were really, really comfortable with him at third base, then he would have stayed over there, and Jared Sprague-Lott would have moved to second base. So it's just interesting to see how he'll have to be a starter at second base for the first 4 or 5 weeks, and then slide over to third base, where it's a little bit more of an instinctual position. That's a kid that I'd trust in a moment where you need a base hit. You got to have a base hit. You can drive a guy home from second base. And look, the guy he went 2 for 2 against Paul Skeens last year in a game in the SEC tournament. So to me, that means something. I'm told here on our McCarty Daniel hotline by BJ and by Jason and by Hog Wild and by Andy that Brett Michael did live in Greenwood, that he was married to somebody who's from Greenwood, and actually did spend a lot of time in the area. Did he have the eyeliner at that moment, too? Now, we all know that Brett Michaels was poisoned and not Guns N' Roses. Cody did text back in, and he remembers he meant poison. That's a little disappointed in my nephew at that moment, just a tad disappointed in my nephew. Don't be disappointed, though, if you're looking for a great place to live in Northwest Arkansas. Take a look at the cottages at the park. This is the newest community being built right now from Buffington Homes. One of the most convenient places to live in Northwest Arkansas, just on the
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Looking for an African adventure without the hassle of planning? Kruger Safari Club has got you covered. Our custom hunting and safari packages take care of everything from transportation to accommodations, so you can focus on enjoying the experience of a lifetime. With our team's extensive knowledge of the best hunting and safari spots in South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, you'll have access to some of the most breathtaking views and exciting game hunting opportunities on the planet. And with our commitment to ethical hunting and giving back to the local community, you'll know that your trip with us is making a positive impact. Book your trip now and let us take care of the rest. Find out more at KrugerSafariClub.com.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yeah.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McCarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired
because I was the only person here, but then I started to hear the squeaks. They closed the roof. I don't think we're going to be playing in the elements today, unfortunately.
There's always next time.
Yeah, there's next time.
Exciting environment down there. I'm excited about watching tonight's game myself. So just for the entertainment value of it, it looks like it's the marquee game of the day. Two top 10 matchups. So it's nice to get in something like that this early in the season.
Absolutely. I think this is the best. This is the best game in college baseball, not just tonight, but for the entire weekend. So I mentioned at the start of the segment how Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. Every single month, when the numbers come out from the state gambling board, we're shown evidence that Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports betting.
Oh yeah, and the numbers they just published them again this morning for January, and we're right there where we were. We're sitting about 60% of all of the online sports bets are made on Bet Saracen, and that's very humbling, and it's great that we have the response for that. And again, it's why we do this, because our customers tell us what they want, and we try to give it to them, and it's a very nice position to be in. But a lot of hard work from this team. I like to think is that we have basically you can get somebody, a real person, either through chat or on the phone, basically 24/7. If you have an issue, we like to think our lines and our specialized content for the state of Arkansas has a lot to do with that also. So and hey, we got to listen to our customers, give them what they want, they'll play with you. So it's a pretty easy formula for us, but not always easy to do with the technology that we've got today and all that goes with it. But it sure is fun getting it done.
Still have your NBA specials, and these are the things that you're talking about. And we can talk about the games involved with Arkansas or any of the other in-state universities where you really won't be able to find many odds on like Arkansas softball or UCA, women's basketball, that kind of thing. But with all of the Razorbacks that are playing in the NBA right now, you basically have a choice day by day of picking some prop bets for former Razorbacks in the NBA, and you got another one out there for games tonight.
Yeah, and they're very popular. People like following
the Hogs that have moved on to the NBA. And I mean, last year you had 3 drafted. I mean, that's pretty darn good. Any year for any team. So, I mean, it's the passion of the Arkansas fans is makes my job just a little bit easier because I don't have to worry about 5 or 6 different pro teams. If I can concentrate on the Arkansas and the in-state teams, that's where their passion is. So it makes my job a little easier. But also, that means I have to develop content because the cookie cutter odds feeds and things like that don't necessarily put out specialized content, especially on NCAA. So we have to get creative and take the bull by the horns and create that content ourselves. And it's actually fun doing it. Also, you're talking about the NBA. How will LeBron James score his 40,000th career regular season point? And that one gets some traction too, whether it's going to be a 3-point field goal, a 2-point field goal, or a free throw. So that's coming up here pretty soon. He's approaching that milestone.
Neil, did I see you tweet about this? I saw somebody kind of on Twitter lauding Bet Saracen for I think it was in the casino, and you had answered Bet. Do you also run the table games at Saracen Casino?
Yeah, I do have that privilege. Basically, I run all forms of gambling at Saracen except for the slot machines themselves. Well, slot machines is where most of our action is, and that's a big job. But anything else that's gaming related falls under my leadership, and I'm privileged to be able to lead the groups that head up those areas. But yeah, I'm over the table games department and the sports book. It's a little overwhelming sometimes, but hey, it is a lot of fun. No day is the same. And table games is where all of my background is in. And I just got lucky, and when PAPSA was repealed, they came to me to start up a sports book at my previous spot, and that's what got me into sports betting. And I have not looked back. And being able to come to Arkansas and launch mobile betting here and help this sports book has been the jewel of my crown of what I've been able to accomplish. And it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And when you get somebody that gives you unsolicited feedback like that, compares you with a huge casino operation there in Florida and says, we're better right here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Yeah, that is humbling also. And I appreciate that. And the group that we've been able to do what we've been able to do here. So,
well, we've got a text in from Leon on the McCarty Daniel hotline. He had a question asking if the app, if Bet Saracen might have plans at some point to have Texas Hold'em on the app. So, I mean, I've obviously that's a table game. I didn't realize that'd be something maybe you could put on an app.
Yeah, you can, and there are several states that do have it. And I'm not going to never say never, but online poker, and actually I run the poker room too, and I actually started in the casino business as a poker dealer. So I know poker pretty well. Online poker is an interesting animal. It's really, really hard just to run an online poker site with just one state. We would have to get on what is called the multi-state compact to pull all of those players together and make it worth its while. And as this thing grows and as internet gaming grows, I do see it coming, but just not right now. I don't know how far in the future that it would be, but in order for it to be successful, Arkansas would have to join the multi-state compact so you can play from people from Nevada, Michigan, New Jersey, so you have enough player pools to make the tournament and the cash games worth your while. But yeah, I'm not saying never, but not right now.
Do you deal blackjack too, or is it just poker?
Oh no, I've dealt every game in the casino except for some of these newer carnival games that have come out in the last few years, like High Card Flush or I Love Suits. Some of these novelty games that come out. But yeah, I mean I think I attribute a lot of that success is because I have basically held every position in the table games department and for the most part the sports book. So I have been there on the front line operationally, and now that I'm in the management side of it, I have a full 360 perspective. And before I got into gambling, I was a gambler, so I even have a little bit of insight from the gambler's perspective too. So treat people right and give them what they want, and it's not a hard job, but it's, with technology, it's a little bit more tricky than it used to.
In baseball, we would call you utility player. If you've done it all, if you've been on every side of everything, then you'd be a utility player. Blackjack would be my game if I do go to a casino, but I probably have that look because it's been a minute since I played. I probably have that look of somebody that's going to hit at the wrong time, upset everybody at the table that's next to me. Do you have a kind of a sense when you see the look on somebody's face that they're going to hit on the wrong spot?
Yeah, you do. But, I tell people all the time, if somebody, they're not taking your card, it's a random card that's coming out. And, it's funny that you get, I call them table captains that try to run the whole table. But, you're playing your own money. And I tell people, play the money the way you feel. And if you feel like you need to take a hit, take a hit. If you don't want to take a hit, don't. And if you don't know, ask the dealer, and they'll tell you what the book says. I can't we're not supposed to give advice on how to play each individual hand, but we can tell you what the mathematical book says and help you along there. But when you go and play blackjack, go and play for fun and play your game. Just like when you're doing sports betting, make your pick that you think, and not necessarily live to all of your friends in the news. Go with your gut, and I think you'll do better in the long run. And of course, if you have a little data to back up your gut, that doesn't hurt either, or a little research. But the main thing with sports gambling is keep it fun and keep it entertaining. And, hey, if you're at a table with somebody you don't like, go to a different table. Don't let them ruin your trip, ruin your thing. So that's the way I look at it.
Hey, it looks like you guys later on next week might be offline for a little bit. What is it you guys are upgrading on the Bet Saracen platform?
Yeah, we're doing a big behind-the-scenes upgrade. Matter of fact, this upgrade is so encompassing, you're going to have to download the new app or do the update to the app before you'll be able to get back on the site. And that's not necessarily unusual. But once we upgrade the system, we will push out. And if you log in under the old app, under the old version of the app, it's going to make you upgrade before you can log on. That is going to be big because it's going to greatly enhance our same game parlay capability. That's the number one thing that we've kind of been taking a little bit longer to get because we wanted to get it right. You're going to be able to parlay a lot more. And we've redesigned the bet flip to where if you make a parlay and it's not same game parlayable, it will separate it to what is parlayable and what is not. So you can make your bet a lot easier. I don't want to go too far down it because when you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But we did a lot of research, and I actually delayed the upgrade a couple of times because it just wasn't quite right. And got some feedback from some of our key players, and we're excited to turn that loose sometime next week. Well, right now it's scheduled for Wednesday morning, and we'll get that one out. So just in time for March Madness and the tournaments.
Neil, let's leave it there. Appreciate your time. We'll visit again next Friday. sometimes songs about May December relationship with woman and a man get reversed, and he gets to live the art that he's saying about it reversed.
Rod Stewart, Paul McCartney, or Sean Penn? Which one would you want to be? Which life would you want out of those?
I'm going to take McCartney.
McCartney.
What about you?
Didn't Sean Penn catch El Chapo?
For real? I think he did. You're right.
Yeah.
He had real. That's not a reason I would choose to be him, though.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's Paul McCartney as well. Although, I mean, Rod Stewart and Sean Penn, both gangsters in their own right.
I don't want to wear the pants that Stewart wore in the set. I do not want to wear those. All right. I'd rather wear the see-through pants that major league players are complaining about right now than the skin-tight leather pants.
Oh, Paul McCartney won the 80s over Rod Stewart. No question
Yeah.
about that. He was cool. Yeah.
I think he won the 70s over Rod Stewart too. Certainly won the 60s over them.
Right.
I think so. That's right. I would take McCartney over Stewart and over Sean Penn, though I probably would go Sean Penn second after that. It would be nice to be an Oscar-winning
moments.
actor.
Yeah, he's had some moments on the big screen.
He's had some sad moments too. You know, I would have loved to have been in Fast Times at Ridgemont.
That Gangster Squad movie with Josh Brolin, and that he came out, that really showed his age.
I'm still stuck on At Close Range. You ever seen At Close Range?
I have not.
Christopher Walken, his brother Chris Penn is in this too. That is, oh man. And I don't remember if that's the movie where he and Madonna came together and met, or if she got the song on the movie because of her relationship with Sean Penn, or if that's where they actually met. But that's one that I'd go back and be in that movie if I could. If I could be Sean Penn in the 80s, maybe not in the 90s or the 10s or anything there, but I would go McCartney his entire career, Sean Penn in the 80s, and then I don't want to be Rod Stewart. I'm just not going to be Rod Stewart, okay?
Not even when he was in the band Faces?
No, and you remember, because I've never been that shy about performing on stage like he was. That's the thing. If you ever want to know, like, if you can be something that you're not, the story about Rod Stewart coming in with Faces to the United States and being so nervous on stage and having stage fright that he had to hide behind the amp while he was singing. And then that's the guy who had the lightning strike hairdo and the tight leather pants and strutting around on stage. Do you think I'm sexy? That's the guy who had stage fright. We can all grow from those moments. No doubt about that. Who would you rather be? We got Arkansas Dave is reminding us that Chris Penn was in Footloose. He was in Footloose. He was the guy who couldn't dance that Kevin Bacon taught how to dance. And then he was also in, Chris Penn was such a great 80s actor. He was in All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise and Lee Thompson. And remember, his character got his girlfriend pregnant, and I don't think he went to college after that. And they got married, a shotgun marriage, and they had their honeymoon at a Penguins game, which is just funny to think about in the early 80s. Jim in Mountainburg says, Rod Stewart has 8 kids with 5 mothers. Yes, I don't want to be Rod Stewart. Thank you very much. I'll just go with McCartney. I think McCartney's has he been married 2 times, 3 times? I forget, but I don't think he has 8 kids with 5 different people. Chris would want to be Mike Damone if he was a character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I didn't say I wanted to be the character that Sean Penn was. You'd be too stoned to remember what it would be like to be in the movie. To be Damone, well, that'd be the character that maybe you'd want to be, but why? Then you're the one who comes off as being a real schmuck. I don't know if I would want to be Damone. I don't know if I would want to be any of those characters. They looked like they were really, really uncomfortable in their own skin in those days. What else to hit on here? I love this ballpark. I don't really get a chance to go to a major league ballpark too often. I got to take advantage of this. Matt, they don't have free press booth for us up here, so I do have to go get the boomstick once we're done here.
Tomorrow, maybe get you a Billy Bean, get you a foul pole to foul pole in, get you about 4 of those.
Those are fair poles, Matt. Remember who you're talking
to. Fair enough.
You want me to go running on that field after I eat tonight? It's cold. I don't know if I need to be running anywhere. I'll walk around the concourse. I mean, this is the kind of thing that if you come for Razorback baseball, I mean, I would say stick around for the other games just to at least sit around it. But that's part of the thing of coming to Arlington is like this is the playground of this region. There's so much going on here right now. At the hotel I'm staying at, I don't know if it's a real racing team or if it's a racing team that does video game racing, because there's an esports stadium next door to the ballpark here too. So, I mean, I don't play video games to know, but these guys look like they were a real race crew, but I don't know if the Texas Motor Speedway is hosting it or not. They very well could be having some kind of a competition at the esports stadium right next door here. And I guess they end up getting dressed up for it too. JT loves that you went with the foul pole direction, man. I got to train you on the fair pole thing.
Well, to each his own. I was just trying to get you a little workout in. You get there before nobody's at the stadium. That's the best time to get you a little warning track jog in. Get out there and break you a sweat. You got a little cold coming on. The best thing you could do is break you a little sweat. See, there you go.
That's the stuff. I mean, I'm going through an entire box of tissues. I had to take the tissues from underneath the Gatorade jug at the Reed Arena yesterday. Yeah, the A&M got the win. I got the box of tissues. I'm going to go through the whole thing here. Text out of the 870 wants to be Brian Johnson from ACDC. Because that's a guy that kept a legacy for a band that wasn't quite sure what direction to go on after Bon Scott's death. By the way, I still see Bon Scott action figures out there somehow. So remember how Aaron Torres in hour number 1, this is something that we haven't touched on very. We have to hit on this with it. Are we surprised Aaron Torres is not a movie guy or a music guy? Like, I feel like you got to be a little bold to say I don't like music, because that's a very large statement. Music is a broad category. Do you never listen to music? I mean, like, never? That's kind of the first thing I go to. I go to music before I go to sports talk. You know my addiction to the Casey Kasem American Top 40 shows. I've been searching around to see if I can find any of the Rick D's weekly Top 40s from the 90s. That actually was better radio than the Casey Kasem stuff. And Peace was really, really funny. How can you not like music? I don't quite get that. Obviously, you didn't know David Bowie was dead, because we thought he might come out with some new stuff. Without music, what do you have?
Well, the Hunky Dory album was a really good album. That's been out for way longer than I've been alive.
Hayden says Supercross is at AT&T Stadium this weekend. Okay, so that is a racing team of some sort, but if it's Supercross, are those the motorcycles? Are those the motorbike, the dirt bikes? That'd be actually pretty cool to see. Next door here, across the giant parking lot, which looks like it's next door, but it's probably like half a mile or 3/4 of a mile away. And as big as this ballpark is, it's you could fit. I think you could fit Globe Life Field inside AT&T Stadium. I'm pretty sure you could. As big as this stadium is, what do they have? I mean, it only seats like 40,000. This is really not that big of a ballpark by capacity. It's just a huge ballpark by outfield, by expansive outfield. Yeah, but that's a thing. You got to have a good center fielder at a place like this. You don't have a center fielder that can track down anything into the alleys or to the fence. You don't really have much of a shot to do anything. You need to get that center fielder. Ty Wilmsmeyer is going to be a star this weekend.
Jacoby Ellsbury, could he roam center field right there?
Absolutely, he could have. Yeah, here's another outfielder that could have roamed the outfield out here. Craig Gentry.
Yeah,
he's going to throw out a ceremony of first pitch tomorrow.
OG Craig, that's cool.
He played for the Rangers. I forget how long ago it was that he retired.
We were Fort Smith kids. We played basketball together when we were 5th, 6th grade type thing. Yeah.
Good basketball player?
Oh, he's an athlete from day one. He was always one of the best athletes.
I remember seeing him come up in the Rangers organization with Frisco Rough Riders. Gentry, I mean, he played in the big leagues for 9 years.
He was a journeyman a little bit, but he had speed. I bet you, I don't know what they time, Phil, in how you correlate it to 40-yard dash time, but he ran a sub 4.4 like that. Whatever, I don't know how, if you do 60s, if you do to the first base, but he could run.
That looks like he wasn't really like ever a full-time outfielder, but he's a guy that would come off the bench, pinch hit, pinch run, defensive replacement, 601 major league games in a 10-year career. And he stole 94 bases, didn't hit too much power. Came out of Arkansas as the 10th round pick in 2006. So that's a guy that played for Dave kind of early in DBH's tenure at Arkansas. Means he would have been part of that 2004 College World Series team, I think. Well, that's kind of neat. Should end up getting him on the broadcast, I think, too. For him to come up on Saturday after he throws out that ceremonial first pitch. And say hi to all the Razorback fans, and I'll tell them about my show host that I work with. I played basketball with him.
He was a heck of a basketball player, yeah. I think he chose the right sport, though.
I'll bet you they got the game over at Joe's Grilling Cantina tonight. They always have Arkansas Athletics on the TVs at Joe's Grilling Cantina. Plus, they have fresh-made, house-made salsa every day. ball tomorrow morning. So you'll be able to go right from your soccer match into tip-off of the basketball game. It's at 11 o'clock.
Well, that's on Sunday, but yes, basketball Hogs on Saturday. There is games, a lot of soccer games from Premier Leagues Saturday morning. But yes, going to cheer on the Hogs to victory, and then come do the post-game eulogy for Missouri Tigers this week. So it'll be a good change instead of for these Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm feeling a dub. I'm feeling they're going to get 2 in a row and have a streak of 3.
Are you bold enough to predict a 3-game winning streak right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm on their side. From what I've seen out of Missouri, I think they're the least. I haven't seen Vanderbilt play yet, and they haven't beat anybody yet. I think if Arkansas does, the thing about these next 2 games is Arkansas. The only way they lose is if they beat themselves. I mean, we should win both these games.
Well, I'd love the idea of a winning streak heading into next week. I'd love to see Arkansas baseball with 3 in a row here and go into the midweek game against Grambling next week with a 4-game winning streak. I'd also like to make sure that C-Unit does his halftime homework this week. He's been so good at doing extra credit. Was there another Swayze movie that we threw on top for potential extra credit? This month has been really good for you, C-Unit. You haven't seen a movie you don't like yet. And I'm going to guarantee you'll love The Outsiders. You already read the book, and you love that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to The Outsiders.
Good. You got the missus watching with you, along with
I'm going to get her
with Asher the pup.
I'm going to get her to watch it. I'm going to. I think she'll like it.
Good. And then next week we got to figure out what it is we're going to be assigning C-Unit the week for the month after. Matt felt really big on the idea of American Psycho. So what would that start?
A lot of good people in that. You get an Arkansas guy, Josh Lucas. You get William Dafoe. Christian Bale, of course. Jared Leto's in it. So it would be a good one to great comedy. I mean, you talk about my favorite comedies. I think it's a 2000 movie. Like it was
I think it was 2000.
It's right around my senior year of high school or so, but when he's at the ATM and it's like feed me the cat, and you're like, oh, I got to go deliver some tapes to Cliff Huxtable. Yeah, okay.
But do you like Huey Lewis and the News?
They didn't really come into their own until their 4th studio album, Sports.
I think we have to assign the movie to C-Unit. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's the one, because we do love Huey Lewis and the News. Maybe we can do a whole theme built around Huey Lewis movies, starting with a movie he's not even in, but the song is in, American Psycho. He's in Back to the Future. He did a movie with Gwyneth Paltrow, duets. I don't know if there's a 4th movie out there, but we'll need a 4th. Huey Lewis month. Who knew it?
Yeah, all the Back to the Futures. So it'd be fun. It's gonna be a fun weekend.
It's gonna be a big time weekend, and I'll see you later tonight, 6:30 for the Dugout Show for Arkansas, Oregon State. Should have first pitch right after 7 o'clock on many of our ESPN Arkansas affiliates. C-Unit, enjoy your movie. Have a great weekend. MJ, hope the golf and soccer is enjoyable. I expect Arkansas basketball will be enjoyable as well. And I'll see you guys later tonight for Arkansas baseball. Also see you on Monday for the next edition of Halftime. So for Matt, for the unit, I'm Phil. Thanks for tuning in. That's Halftime. Get up, get out, and get better.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.assessor.com.